Hello, everyone. I am absolutely sorry. I am late. I have been sitting here talking to myself for 20 minutes. You guys. Oh my goodness. I forgot to push the go live button. Oh my goodness. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad you said something, Avery. You know, we live and learn, right? I was just reading the chat and answering the questions as I could. Welcome, everybody. I am so sorry. Hello, Summer, Avery, Just Don, Emily. I don't know, KK, we will be. Emily. Yeah, cool. Okay. So, I guess I got to practice for 20 minutes. Because I was like, I came on early, like 4 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get started. Oh, my Lanta. Anyways, today we are talking about the mysterious disappearance of Stephen Haataja, who was a math professor in Chadron State College, where I went to school in 2006. I did find Avery. You will learn very quickly, honey. And I knew that I was going to have to like mute myself at some point because I might have to, do something, or I'm finishing up eating, but wow. Thank you for waiting this long, guys. I appreciate it. Anyway, he went missing on December 4th, 2006 from Chadron State College. I gave kind of a background to myself, but I will give it to you guys. Basically, he came to Chadron from Lincoln. He was born in he was born in Minneapolis, but he grew up and graduated from Spearfish in South Dakota. Attended Black Hills State. Got a he was working on his well, let me just go back. Oh my gosh. Well, there's no better way to get attention, right? Maybe they will subscribe. I don't know. Avery's got the whole pharmacy laughing at me. Awesome. Any attention you get is attention, so it's free, not complaining. Yes, tell them to sub up, Avery. Okay. So, not even sure what you guys heard. I mean, you guys didn't hear any of it. So, I'll just kind of go over everything again. Hi, Just Dawn. Yeah, it's totally okay. I was talking to myself for 20 minutes. So, Yeah. Real Gongonzo, how are you? It is a very big story in Chadron history. Have you been out there? Probably, maybe several times. Um, went missing December 4th of 2006, was found March 9th, 2007. One of the most bizarre and intriguing mysteries to come out of Nebraska was the death of a brilliant math professor in 2006. The quiet city of Chadron in far northwest Nebraska is typically thought of as a safe place to live and visit. I can count on one hand how many things happened the whole time I lived there. I mean, if something happened, everyone knew. Um, yeah, that's awesome, Real Gonzo. Yes, Summer can mod if she wants. I don't know how to put as a moderator, but it's just let me know if you guys see anything that needs my attention. uh, anyway, the quiet city of Chadron in far northwestern Nebraska is typically thought of as a safe place to live and visit. The natural beauty and small town charm make it a destination for nature lovers and people who love discovering the best places in Nebraska. The city is home to Chadron State College, a public four-year college offering more than 50 majors. In 2006, Stephen Haataja was the math professor at Chadron State. He was described as a brilliant man whose knowledge of math theory was positively stunning. On one December morning in 2006, December 4th to be exact, Professor Haataja was reported missing when he failed to show up for class. Upon investigating, police discovered there were no signs the professor planned to leave. His family and friends could offer no theories about where he may have gone. His disappearance remained a mystery for months. I will say this, I don't know if any of the articles say this, but he did have a meeting with some students, I believe the night before. Don't know who they were. They've never been identified. I do believe investigators did go through his computer. Hello, Wheelby. No, Summer told me she would. I just haven't really gotten back to her because I think I know everybody in chat and whatnot. So, but like I say, if anyone sees anything, please let me know. Um, the autopsy determined that the professor had died of smoke inhalation and thermal energies. He had been bound to a tree and lit on fire while he was still alive. At first blush, it appeared to be a homicide, and for good reason. How else would this horrific death play out? But there was no easy explanation for the scenario, and it baffled investigators for months. They discovered that Haataja had been depressed and felt isolated in Chadron, where he had moved only 7 months prior to his death. He reportedly attempted to self harm himself. the previous year, a fact that contributed in investigators' final determination in the case. After months of investigation, the police announced that Haataja's death was an elaborate self-harm. Accelerant was found on his clothing and a nearly empty bottle of peppermint schnapps was found near his body. There were no signs of a struggle nor any indication that there had been a second person there with Haataja. As implausible as it sounds, all of the pieces fit with this new theory. And Wheelby said very very much similar to Debbie Collier, yes. The determination of self-harm was called into question by plenty of people who had been following the case, including some who knew the professor. The case was so bizarre that it inspired a book by Poe Ballantine entitled Love and Terror on the Howling Plains of Nowhere. A movie by the same name was eventually made. And his family accepted the self-harm theory, and the case has officially been closed. But for many people, it remains one of Nebraska's most compelling unsolved mysteries. Tell me about it. Anybody have any questions or comments, concerns, other angles to look at? Oh, yeah, absolutely. The lady next to you wants to know if he had a wife or children. So, not at the time that he was here. And let me see. Let me go back to I also read part of his obituary. Hi, hippie chick. How are you? Okay, so let me just get this complete. I can read this too, since I read it before y'all joined me. He disappeared from the city of 5600 in December. Police saw no signs he planned on leaving and have acknowledged they did little to search for the professor. Well, the reason they did little is because there is little. I mean, we could have searched these remote areas for days and days, but where do you start? Said acting Chadron Police Chief Margaret Kuiper, which is the truth. I'm from there. Yes, real gonzo. I'm getting to that. There has been theories that he was homosexual. He was a brilliant man, but many thought that he was gay. No reason to get beaten and burned. No, absolutely not. Residents say it's long overdue. Without any answers, the intensity of the speculation over his death has gotten crazy, said Kit Reeves, she's mentioned up here earlier. Who works across the street from where the professor lived. Some people are freaked out. Was he just randomly picked on, or was there a reason? Sorry, I'm just reading. In the fervor, former city councilman and others said they worried that it was the... So, the city councilman and others said they were worried that Haataja was the victim of a hate crime. That's probably where that all got started. Somebody also said he and other students wondered whether the professor was singled out because of his effeminate mannerisms. His best friend said he was not homosexual, and police wouldn't say whether they believe it was a hate crime. And others suggest who had Haataja had been hospitalized early last year, the previous year, for depression, had committed self-harm. But it would have been, they say, this is the crazy part, okay? They say it would have been no, Avery, they ruled it a self-harm. Hi, Fofa. Wheelby, can you hear me okay? They say it would have been difficult for him to make the journey himself to the rough hills where he was found due to he had a hip surgery. He suffered a broken hip in March of 2005 while ice skating, and the accident made the already cautious Haataja even more careful. He avoided walking on bumpy sidewalks and stepping over objects more than a couple feet high, and he was found in a, like I said the other night, like when we were talking about chance and everything, how there could be many, many places to dispose of a body if you really wanted to. This is an example. Con Marshall, who is a longtime Chadron resident, he was also, I don't know his exact title. He was the not the commentator, but definitely a sports analyst, writer for the Chadron State College. And also, I believe he was just a news reporter in general. He said this is the most mysterious thing that's ever happened here. And he was a lifelong area resident who has worked at Chadron State College for 38 years. Is Betty Joe with us? Betty Joe, how are you? Um, Fellow professors at Chadron State said their colleague was looking to the future. Another professor said he didn't cocoon himself inside mathematical abstractions or depressive states and lock others out. He used his dry sense of humor on coworkers, like to chit chat about a variety of topics, and sought advice on better ways to explain math to his colleagues, to his students. And he did some late night work. Hi, Sally Mae. Can everybody except Wheelby hear me? Thank you, hippie chick. Okay, good. Wheelby, can you hear me now? Good. Yeah, there was. It's just crazy to think that there was no DNA found. I still think that, I mean, from the sounds of everything, someone had to do something, but his sisters are okay with the unaliving or self-harming theory. Yes, we'll be. You definitely. Anybody can come up if they want. Just send me a. Oh, do I need to drop my link? Hi, Glowbug. I will. Hold on one second. Let me grab it. Are you guys still with me? Okay. Let me know if that's right, guys. Yes, because I definitely want to know what other people think. Trust me, when this happened and I was in school there, it was right at the end of the semester. And there's also theories that some kids maybe weren't doing so hot in math and wanted this to be a distraction for a math grade. But nobody really came up with anybody, so oh, guys, I am so sorry. That was definitely the wrong one. Let me post the actual. I gotta learn more about this, and it's kind of hard on my. Here's the actual link. Thank you, guys. Okay, one moment. I'm going to mute myself for a second. And I'm back. One moment. Let me be up here. Hello, Wheelby.
Hello. You're not going to believe what happened. My computer froze up and it kept showing you. It said 4 minutes. She'll start. So I'm just in chat. Just where's
Wheelby, I
JC? Anybody got her? I
because
feel
I
like an idiot.
felt for 20 minutes.
I know. And finally, Summer figured out what was going on, and I just restarted my computer and it was fine. I've never had it do that.
But we are all here now,
Yeah,
so that's all that matters.
that's right. But I apologize.
Thank you so much for coming up with me.
Yeah, I've been
Sometimes I
looking into this
how well
today.
I can sometimes I don't know how well I can like explain stuff because I just know what I know and assume that everyone else knows it too, but I know that that's not the case all the time. Um, you know, and especially with these, cases that we don't talk about all the time. So,
Yeah, the ones that are off the beaten track.
yeah. So you said that there's a lot of similarities to Debbie Collier.
Yeah, they're not connected in any way. I don't
No.
mean to imply that, but uh, the body burnt, dying from smoking inhalation.
Mm-hmm.
There was a glob of some kind of melted plastic. I think at Debbie Collier's there was a gas can or something that had melted. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just weird. And they labeled hers a suicide, which I think is the craziest thing ever.
And they did his too.
His too, and I just I don't know. It's hard to swallow.
I did talk to my family member that has ties with law enforcement about um
Champs.
about Chance Engelbert, and I think like we say, like we're not here to down law enforcement or anything, but he did say that at least the person that we are connected to um, is very distraught over what happened and that they can't find any answers. And they're very, it's still a very open case for
Yeah,
them. They
it's
thought,
extremely cold, I would imagine.
but it's just that, I mean, I guess if I had one question, I would ask, why haven't you? There may be a reason they haven't reached out to FBI and we just don't know. I don't know what that would be, but there was over 18, law enforcement agencies in on that one
Yeah.
anyways, and sometimes getting more hands in the cookie jar is, but I would think FBI would be a very helpful
Yeah.
resource, but that's just my opinion. But like in a case like this, and you have to realize too, I was going to make this point. The family member that I have that um, has connections to law enforcement, I was talking to this weekend, but back when this happened, I heard him talking, and he did say that, a lot of times in rural areas, self harm is determined to be the matter of death because they don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, and
I think, maybe I don't know if, Debbie Collier's death was, but it just seems weird because where was Debbie Collier at? Was she in Georgia?
Georgia, there was a lot more factors in that too, where she had uh, texted or something about a Venmo to her daughter for 2,000 some
Mm-hmm.
dollars. So there was a lot of other factors completely different
Mm-hmm.
than Stephen's situation. But it just was odd how their
Yeah.
bodies were found, and which was similar, and they both were labeled a self
Mm-hmm.
unaliving,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, it just seems off to me. But I did look further this afternoon, and it's a little more common than you think.
Oh, absolutely.
Unliving yourself like that. It's not that rare as I
Right.
thought it was. But I don't know. It's just I mean, that's a
I,
small town. You know, it's almost like you can. You know, it seems like everybody would know everybody in that little
oh, yeah,
community. Because
absolutely.
I watched the what's the name of the little documentary? Uh,
Oh, I
anyway, I
see.
was watching that where they introduce each character, each person in the town. The lady that owns the old inn bar, and the former police sergeant, and the
Mm-hmm.
county sheriff, and I mean, it's like everybody knows
Yeah,
everybody.
oh God, the county attorney was, I think the county attorney was also the coroner at the
Yeah,
time. I don't know if he still is. I don't know, but
yeah. I was going to ask you, how many students go to Chadron
Saturn
State
State.
College? Excuse me.
Well, I don't know now. I know at the time it was probably around. I don't want to overestimate, but I don't want to under. I'll
I'll
say
pull it up here in a second, but
I'll say
I was just trying
25,
to get a sense of.
2,500 to 3,000.
Okay.
We're talking a large high school.
In the town, they said had about 5,500
If,
residents. I wonder if that excludes the college.
no, that's just the town. The town is 5,600.
Yeah, but it's like everybody knows everybody,
Yep. Yep.
and it seems like it'd be a neat place to live. To be honest with you.
I mean, a lot of people like to visit there. They do have what they're most famous for, and in the summertime they celebrate it. It's called Fur Trade Days. They have a museum of the fur trade. I've never been there. Don't ask me. um,
Uh,
but we do celebrate Fur Trade Days every summer. Um, that's probably what it's most famous for. And then the college itself used to be called something else. It wasn't a state college.
I was going to say it seems like it would be a community college that might move
It
to a state
no,
college.
it was just a it was it was built on the um I think it was called Chadron Teachers College or something like that.
Yeah,
Um the main thing that people would go there for was for uh teaching, and that's what my parents did. So um that's just what I know.
yeah, that's the
And
way school here in near me, UNCG, UNC Greensboro.
I believe
It was a teaching college. They
yeah, I
educated people
believe
to teach.
it went to a state college in maybe 1919 or something like that.
Yeah, he seemed what I read and pulled up on him. He seemed like a great guy. I mean, he was unbelievably smart. He uh, people that hung out with him said he had a dry sense of humor, and he was pleasant to be around. And uh,
It was the state normal school
okay,
in in 1910, and then I believe in 1911 was when they went to a state college system. I don't know why 1919 stood out, but
I can't imagine how many people would have been in that town in 1919 with.
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's 5,600 today, and
Yeah,
over 100 years ago, I'm thinking, how many people were there? 12, 15?
right.
I got these damn stink bugs where I've had my window cracked. I can't stand these things, excuse me. But, I don't know, he seemed like a unique kind of guy, and he just,
I think he was a little He was very. I think he seemed a little different because he was so intelligent.
Yeah, my oldest boy has his doctorate in mathematics, and he actually is unbelievably closer to normal than most people that are that smart in mathematics. But people that are that intelligent in math, I mean, they're just one
Mm-hmm.
step away from madness.
Yeah. Um.
Uh, I don't know.
And you know, they did name one of the ranchers that found him, but they didn't name the other one.
Yeah, and I read something about that. There was a little speculation that where he was found, the land he was found on, that those people speculation.
What's that now?
On Reddit, I read where the land that he was found on, the
Mm-hmm.
ranchers that owned that, and I guess they were the ones that found him. I'm not sure. But
Yes.
there
Yes.
was on Reddit, there was a speculation that they could have possibly had something to do with it, maybe in lieu of an accident. Then they tried to cover it up with something else, but that wouldn't make
No.
sense. They wouldn't cover it up like that if there was an accident. But
No, they were just it said in one article that I read when I was talking to myself, um, that they found him while chasing like a deer or something off the land.
I was thinking it was a bull was loose.
Or yeah, yeah.
Yeah, when a bull gets loose too, you got to rein him in, or you're gonna have problems with the herd.
Yeah.
But they also talked about he had broken his hip in an ice skating accident a year or so before and had a
Yeah.
hip replacement.
Hip
And
surgery.
that where they found him was a very grueling walk that would
Yeah.
have been highly out of his norm with the way his hip was.
Yes. Yes.
Up hills and I don't know, just the way they described it, it just
And
seemed very
it
difficult.
was December, so it was, I want to say it was probably snowing or had snow on the ground. I mean, we're in the most western part of Nebraska you can get, and it's December.
Yeah, and I would imagine when it gets dark, uh, if somebody don't get you and you don't get yourself, the elements would get a lot of people out stuck outside like that because it gets cold.
It says the land and a tall tree had been scarred by fire. Upon closer examination, the ranchers discovered a body tied to the tree,
Yeah,
and it would be later identified as
yeah. He was
Dr.
tied
Hyman.
at the ankles, the midsection, and upper torso.
Yes.
So
But
that
they
doesn't
his
seem
hand.
like a self unaliving to me. I mean, but they didn't tell enough about how he was at, in depth how he was tied. They just said he was tied in uh, the three areas.
It was by barbed wire.
See, I didn't get that far.
I
I
don't
don't know. It's just this is another
that.
one. I don't know what to think, but I just it's hard to think he unalived himself.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know. I'm going back, and then the next breath I say, yeah, he could have. He had history. He had been hospitalized. He had tried self unaliving on another occasion
Hmm.
a year or so. I'm not sure exactly. And he had actually been put in the hospital
Yeah.
sometime close to that time. So, he could have fell into a depression. You know, they were saying he had just finished his doctorate, and then he comes there to, be the
August.
professor, and he's teaching algebra and just basic nothing to him, which is not very
Yeah.
stimulating.
know if he had any other upper classes or not.
They
Um,
said he went from doing his dissertation and then he came there with the new job, and
yeah.
another guy in the department said he was basically teaching algebra to freshmen and
Mm.
different ones. He didn't have a lot of you know uh,
And I don't know. I also heard that, I mean, he was in Lincoln before, and there was kind of some speculation that he was run out of Lincoln due to his orientation.
well, they said he had a very effeminate mannerisms.
Yes.
Everybody said that, but his very close friends and family swore up and down he was not gay.
Yeah.
So they
And
just said he acted like that. So I don't know,
he, he did go to a gas station, I believe it was, and purchase some briquettes and some alcohol
Yeah, I
that
read that.
the day before
Peppermint schnapps,
he went missing,
and
on the night he went missing. So
yeah,
I
there
don't
was
know.
$100 got out of his account the night
Well,
before too, and I guess he used that to purchase those items.
yeah, and I don't know if I don't know where he lived from the gas station, but if he had the hip problem, I don't know if maybe some people drove him to the store to have him get alcohol and then
Yeah, I
did.
kind of wondered that, and I was kind of got to the point where I had to stop and help my mom, but I was kind of wanting to know if I knew exactly where they found him, and then pulled up on Google Earth, the town, and just see how far of a trek it would be for him. Because I've talked to several people that have had hip replacements, and it's not an easy thing to come back from. You know,
No.
it's painful, and you have to do a lot of physical therapy and rehab to,
Hmm.
get back your uh, strength and your comfort. So I don't know.
This one, when was this article? Because this one says the case remains open to this day, and another one says that it was closed. So
Uh, I'm not sure. I mean, like I say, I just done about an hour dive today and just basically Googled and pulled up the first 5 or 6 articles that looked interesting, and
I
kind of.
think as far as Chadron goes, now listen, is it possible that as far as like the local police department goes, it's closed, but as far as the state patrol goes, it's still.
I could see a situation or a scenario where with they don't have unlimited resources. So at some point, unless they have a viable lead or break in the case,
Mm,
it's basically cold and on ice.
yeah.
So I could, I don't know any of this to be true, but I could see where they maybe both agencies are at that point with lack of a new tip or some kind of information.
Hmm.
They what can they do?
I know. It's just like in all of these cases that I've covered so far. Gosh.
Yeah, you're going to have to do one when you catch somebody.
That is coming up. Thank you for mentioning that because this is a solved-ish case. And I say solved-ish because the debate on whether that was possible or not, whatever. But we will be getting into some solved cases.
I
There's.
moved all over the place with this guy today. I mean, one minute I think he's closet, he's covered up his homosexual tendencies from everybody and it's driving him crazy. He's got the press, blah, blah, blah. And then the next minute say, no, that's not what's going
And
on. And uh,
just from,
he's depressed. I just jumped, my head jumped there back and forth all afternoon.
and I'm not a part of the LGBT community by any means. I'm just best friends with everybody. Um, but I lived in Chadron and for in my 20s and for literally 10 years, and I I, I don't I don't want to say that I know anybody that would actually act upon a hate crime there, but it's not so far fetched. Like I
There's a
can
lot
see,
of backwards thinking there. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah, without saying it, yes, that's and
Yeah.
I don't know. I know I know the truth about what goes on in places like that. I mean, I moved to Omaha for a reason. I
Get
love
out
everyone
of that
there,
small
don't get me
town
wrong,
mentality.
but I can't, you know, they're not, yeah, hippie chick, they're not actively investigating it by any means. This happened in 2006, found in 2007, and there's been a documentary on it. They did uh declare self-harm the cause of death, um and they just book close it.
Yeah, and a lot of the people in the town, they don't buy that, but at the same time, they're not like jumping
my
up and down, hollering for another investigation either.
my grandma definitely questioned it. She's like, how? And you know and then that got me, I wasn't going to ask any questions. I was like, well, that's weird, but I wasn't going to ask any questions. She's like, JC, you have to realize how could you bind yourself to a tree and set yourself
With
on.
Bob Wire, you
And
said
I'm
he
like,
tied us. That was the way he fixed himself to the tree with Bob Wire.
yeah. And my grandma literally just thought that she fully believes that some students did something.
I could see, he starts teaching classes and kids see his mannerisms or whatever, and maybe he goes out and has a beer to one of the bars around there, and kids, he leaves to go walk home, and some kids just get
Well,
stupid.
and the thing is this is what I'll say is that the night before, um, a guy that I know was supposed to have a meeting with it, like a like went in and like had to go talk to him about something, and he said that he didn't see anything wrong or anything. However, he did. One of the articles did say that he did stay at the college late at night, and sometimes to do his
Great,
homework for
yeah.
math class or whatever. And they did go through his computer, and he was, I think the last thing they saw activity on his computer was that he was emailing the students having like having a help session, like you
Tutoring
know
or
setting up a time for the kids to come in, and he would help them or answer any questions that they have or something like that.
yeah. The only reason I don't think something like that happened with maybe the students is because kids that age could not keep that secret.
Well, and that's the thing is like after when it happened, you know, on campus, I don't think that could happen in my head. I don't think that it could happen either because everybody knows everybody,
Yeah,
and
kids aren't going to keep that kind of secret.
somebody's gonna say something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
exactly.
for it to not go reported, if is just kind of so. I don't know. I want to say
Damn, they stink. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I do think, but
Damn.
at the same time, there's no way that. I mean,
Yeah,
we could keep it a secret for a while, but I don't think that we could keep it a secret for 7 to 9 months.
yeah, and then how many years now?
And now it's been years. I
Uh,
mean,
14,
yeah.
3, 17. And with that in mind, if somebody did something nefarious and harmed him, who could keep that kind of secret for that amount of time? The
Right.
top of the list would be one of those old ranchers, to be honest. Kind of like Yellowstone, but the series. You
Mm.
know, not accusing anybody now. This is just purely speculation. If you think about who could keep a secret like that,
Yeah, I don't.
if they were local, it would be that type person. And then I wonder, maybe somebody's moving through them towns, and I don't know. Maybe there's some connected cases, but
But then that would be a random act.
yeah,
And they think that he was taken from the college to wherever he was found.
yeah. I would really. I didn't do enough today to know, but I'd like to know the exact spot where they found him and
I'm
pull
I'm
that up and then pull on Google Earth. I could pull it up and see, you know, what's involved from getting from point A to point B.
yeah, I'm gonna look that up right now actually.
Yeah, if you'll pull it up, I'll pull Google Earth up and we can look at it. I'm going to Google right now. I'm gonna go ahead and pull Google Earth up.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna pull Chadron, Nebraska.
At 8:24, $100 was withdrawn from his bank account that night.
Yeah, this is not a big town, and once you get out of the town, you're on those
You're in the
plains. You know, you got
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of
they were
places out there.
tracking down a rogue bull when they came across the lone tree that had been charred by fire.
Did they state what area?
I am looking for
Let's
that.
see if on Google has it.
So this is what I um the body was soon identified of the missing Stephen Haataja, horrifically burned and bound to the tree around the ankles, torso, and midsection. The fire had been so intense and had raged so hot that the zippers and buttons on his clothes had been melted. Nearby were found an unidentified blob of melted plastic, an unopened plastic water bottle, the remnants of a flashlight, and a plastic Tupperware container, as well as 375 milliliter bottle of schnapps and some unburned briquettes.
They said he had a high alcohol level in his system
Mm-hmm.
too.
There were found no footprints or fingerprints found at the scene other than his own. He had died of his horrific burns and smoke inhalation that had been set on fire while still alive, and there was also turned up a high alcohol level in his blood. I'm still trying to find where it says, or if it says.
Yeah, I'm looking at a couple things trying to see if it'll give me a. There won't be an address. I know that.
His body was in a rough, hilly terrain. So why would he have hiked all the way out there with his bad hip just to light himself on fire?
Exactly.
And also, how had he managed to tie himself onto that tree first? There was no note found, yet despite of all, the official conclusion is that he had gone out into those hills after drinking copious amounts of alcohol, somehow bound himself to the tree, and then set himself on fire in a macabre and elaborate self-harm.
Yeah. There's not a lot of. I didn't get into finding any law enforcement reports or information of specifics.
Yeah.
Exactly how he was tied, how tightly.
Yeah, and they're
Just
not.
kind of general kind of description, and that would be interesting.
I mean, I guess my only question is like, was he tied tight? Was he tied loosely? Like,
Yeah, I just you're. I don't care how depressed you are, how bad you might want to unalive yourself. Your
that's
natural reaction when heat starts hitting your skin and fire is hold on a minute now. It's
yeah.
escape that. You just don't lay there and let that happen. I don't think. I just hard for me to imagine.
But where was he found is exactly. I mean,
That's
I
what I'm looking for right now. I'm trying. I wonder if I pulled the documentary back up. They show it, but they don't give a description. And I know they don't have addresses out to where it was, but they could. I'm trying to
yeah,
think who would
I
have
just
that. Place where Stephen Haataja was found.
I just don't know where he was.
I'm looking, just bear with me. Upon a horrifying scene in the rolling hills south of the college.
Oh,
That's the.
let me see if I can.
If I don't find anything else, I'll go back and use that information. But I'm still thinking somebody's got to have a.
And then they said the name of one of the ranchers that found him. But.
Oh, here, hold on. I might have found something. Maybe. Remote corner about the house.
So, we do have a very. So, Summer says she can't see him unaliving himself. No, I can't.
Yeah, not like that. I mean, I don't care. Like I say, I don't care how dedicated you are to the unaliving yourself. You just when
So
fire hits your skin, your natural instincts are gonna
yeah,
pull back. I would think.
yeah, I will say back behind the college is like the softball fields and stuff. And then on basically the college is surrounded by like these we had a fire we had a fire in 2004 or 5 or something like that, and it literally like burned
Yeah, they were talking about that.
hill. And um they would always take like the athletes on their two-a-days to run Sea Hill. And in 2004 or 5 or something, we had a big fire that basically took out Sea Hill. And the football players that year were really kind of happy about it because they didn't have to run Sea Hill for punishment.
Yeah.
I can say that because my cousin was a football
Yeah,
player.
we used to have to run the steps in high school. And
Yeah.
it's not fun.
But yeah, there is a lot. I'm looking at this and I'm expanding it.
Yeah, I've got the college, and you're saying south of the college.
Yep. And south of the college is very, very, very bare.
Yeah, I mean it's just prairie,
Yep.
and there are some hills. I mean, but
Just full of trees and state park. I don't know if that's the way of the state park, but um, it's just I mean, when you talk about when you talk about the boondocks, that's what you're talking about. Not gonna lie.
yeah, I would imagine they have a lot of people that die from hypothermia who, walk out into the no man's land at, in the nighttime and it
I
gets
mean,
so cold.
not there, but in general.
Yeah, in the whole area, the state,
Yeah.
or that part of the country, because it gets cold.
Very cold.
It,
People, I mean, people die just by shoveling their snow of hypothermia.
yeah. Okay, here I got it now. We're showing the elevations. I'm gonna have to do some research and find, like I say, find where they found him and
Yeah, I don't.
and kind of look at that. In the documentary, they showed it, but when I was watching it right before you started, but
I don't know if I've ever actually watched the actual documentary. I just know that when they were making the documentary, they, in the newspaper and stuff, they
yeah,
had articles about
yeah. The
on.
guy that wrote the book, he's a real interesting guy. Let me pull my notes up. Hold on here. Hold on down. Next page. Wrong book. I got a bunch of new composition books today.
Love and Terror on the Howling Plain.
The guy that wrote, the writer, his name's Ed Hughes, but his pen name is Pop. I hate when I'm
Poe Ballantine.
Yeah. He walked in the documentary. He walks out there and shows it, and he just described it. He said this would be one hell of a walk for anybody, and almost out of the question for somebody with a hip replacement or whatever. Yeah, the that guy seemed like a really interesting character too. The guy that the writer.
Mhm.
Uh, he was Stephen's neighbor, which I found kind of odd.
Okay.
My mind starts going, well, maybe this guy's a closet serial killer that writes books, and he's hiding right in front of us, and which he's not. But it's got to be somebody.
Yeah, I don't. I never knew Dr. Hadia himself. Because I didn't take in. I never took any of his math classes or anything. And he was only there for a year. Wasn't there that long either. But
Yeah.
I didn't know the author guy either.
Yeah. I don't know. I got to do a lot more diving and looking
I
because
just have to start
there's
doing.
got to be a lot more information and scuttlebutt information that had to move around that campus.
I mean, if anyone finds anything interesting, let me know. And if I find any updates or anything, I'll.
Where do you lean in thinking it possible that he had been a closeted homosexual?
I don't know because I didn't know the guy. I just think, like I say, like I'm friends with a lot of homosexuals.
Yeah.
As I am looking at my roommate right now. But I know the difference between being super intelligent and you know what I mean? Like there's a kind of a fine line. And I
Yeah.
guess I only know Dr. Hadiyat as being an intelligent math professor. I don't know him. I didn't ever see him in person.
Yeah. And being effeminate doesn't make someone a.
Yeah, no, there's a
Yeah.
lot of, I'm friends with a lot of guys who are feminine and not homosexual as well.
We had a teacher in high school that was like that, and he was married and had kids, and we would
I mean,
always joke he missed a good chance to be. Yeah, I know, but
sexuals like to cover things up too.
but I mean, he was very feminine. I mean, just like they described this guy.
Yeah. But I don't know. I can't say yay or nay
Yeah, I
on
can't either. Like I say, my mind was kind of jumping back and forth on that issue today.
and also don't really know where I stand on. I just don't see. I would have to for me to be convinced that it was a self-harm, I would have to go out there and see the scene as it was.
Yeah, and have some details of how his
and
body was
and
not
have
just
some physical
vague. Yeah,
concrete details
yeah.
for me to even think that was the
One
only thing
thing.
the only thing that I think that would be possible that was a possibility would is that his hands were not bound.
Yeah, one thing I found interesting is the guy that was a retired sergeant for the Chadron police. Uh, I've got his name wrote somewhere, but when that all this initially happened, they investigated and they did things, but it wasn't just all out. Everybody's just going crazy. Where's he at? You know, it was just a small town. Looking into things, and something popped up. They would look at it, but they weren't. There didn't seem to be any, and they described it as such. It wasn't like they were just intense and just dead on top of this 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and maybe that was from, other than the way they found his body, from lack of information. I don't know. If you watch the documentary, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that in no way am I implying that they didn't do their job, but they just took their resources and did what they could
And
do. And
that's the other thing, like we said in, Chance's case as well, like their resources in the rural communities are very limited as
yeah,
well.
and they didn't go to the assumption right off the bat too. This is some serial killer
Yeah.
coming to the state picking off blah blah blah. They were very
Yeah, it was a very
emotionally not. They didn't get over emotional about it. All hyped up. They just went about their business.
they I think for a while they took all their, like maybe for like a month or so, but after a month or so it can get exhausting and with no answers or
Well,
um
like I
find
say, I imagine at this point it's just absolutely frozen, solid, cold.
yeah. But they said there was no DNA other than his found at the scene, which is weird because you would think that if he was drinking his bottle of schnapps that you know DNA would be found somewhere.
Well, what I read, and like I say, just an article here, an article there, because I just started this afternoon and looked into a few things. I never read anything that said it said the 375 milliliter bottle of peppermint schnapps, but it never said in all the things I read was it half full, all the way empty, or what.
Um, I
Now,
did
you may have read something different.
I did read somewhere where it was about close to empty or 3/4 gone.
Well, that would make sense because they said his tox he was way way high alcohol
Mm-hmm.
levels. So when you think about that, take that into account. Maybe he just
Yeah,
got stinking drunk,
and it could have been
so he could do what he had to do. I don't know. Like I say, one minute I jump on one
no clue.
direction, and the next I back up and go the opposite.
Like I say, I'll just be happy when I cover a case that we have the answers to.
Yeah, I think with
I
this
mean, all
case,
the answers.
watching the entire documentary will probably give you a better sense because I was about a third to a half way through it,
Yeah.
and it was good, and I was liking it, but then I
Yeah.
just
If
stopped.
ever any updates or anything, I'll you know,
Yeah, but
make
that writer character, Valentine or Valentine or whatever, he's an interesting guy.
yeah.
He really is.
There was a lot of stuff about on the news when they were, like I say, when they were making it and when it came out.
Yeah, I thought about ordering his book and reading it off of Amazon.
Yeah.
Because they say it's a good read.
And I don't know where I want to say that they, you know,
So, Summer's asking the question, "What's the name of the documentary?" Hold on, I'll give it to you. She give me a second.
it is called
I've got it wrote down. But I swear I got it.
Love and
I hate when I do this. No, I have something. Probably never know. But
the book is called Love and Terror on the Howling Plains of Nowhere.
yeah, it's that's pretty close. It's the lost something. Let me open up another YouTube thing. And possibly, you can watch it on YouTube. By the way, on Real Stories,
Okay.
that channel. That's I'm gonna pull that channel up and see if I can find. They probably got 900 videos.
I think that's the name of the documentary too.
Yeah, I'm gonna Steven. He's got a weird last name. Uh, what
And I think I don't know if you got to the part in the documentary yet, but I think his sisters might be a part of it.
I swear. Why does it not have the title right here? I just.
Love and the Howling Plains of Nowhere.
That's it. What you just said.
Yep.
The title on the real stories is The Mysterious Murder of a Brilliant Mathematics Professor. Crime documentary. But like I say, I watched it today. I watched probably a third to half of it, and it was really good. And then I had to feed Mom supper and got busy and stopped. But it was good enough. I'm going to go back and watch the rest of it later tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad that you think that it was good because I know
it was real good. I mean, it's an interesting town with real characters, people, diverse. And I've always had friends that were different, interesting, not cookie cutter type.
Yeah.
People. Some are, but no, most aren't. But
yeah.
Had he ever been married?
What's that?
Had Dr. Haataja, had he ever been married?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so either. But
I
know how you read a lot of different material and stuff pops in your head and you can't remember if you read something about that or not.
I think I remember his sisters saying that he had never been back when it happened in one of the articles.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd ever been married.
JC, you're talking about different stories. I'm going to tell you a story that somebody ought to cover. Have you ever heard of Chuck Feeney?
No, I have not.
Chuck Feeney started duty-free shops in airports all over the world. He literally made a fortune beyond belief of about 10 to 15 billion dollars. In his 60s, he decided that making money wasn't that fun a deal and that he wanted to give all of it away before he died. Well, he died yesterday, and he gave all of the 8 to 12 billion away, and he kept his last $2 million so him and his wife and his kids had any medical emergencies, whatever, they do what. But it's a very interesting story. People that make money like that, these billionaires, they, this guy made a conscious decision to put his assets in a trust, and once you put it in a trust, there ain't no going back.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's governed by the trust, and from then on, you can't say, "Hey, I don't like that decision. I'd like some of my money back." But he gave billions away to education all over the world, and it's just an interesting story. He lived a good life.
Yeah, I'm pulling that up right now. It looks like.
Yeah. He talked about how when he built his company, he had all these, dinner parties and entertainment, and that was part of the business, for running his corporation. And he finally got to the point. He told his partner, he said, "This is no fun." He said, "I'm going to put all my money in a charitable trust." And his lawyer told him, he said, "You better be sure of this, because once you sign this paper, you can't back up from it." He said, "I'm absolutely sure." He said, "I had fun making it, but he said, I'm going to have more fun giving it all away before I die."
Yeah, that was kind of my grandma and grandpa's philosophy too, was they always said that, like, when somebody passes away, they've known about families that just get in fights over a dime. And so they were just going to spend all their money while they were here so they
Yeah.
knew where it was.
My dad put his money in a trust for education for all my family. Like I
But you
say,
can
I'm the
don't.
least educated. I've got a degree from Wake Forest, so we've got 2 or 3 doctorates. I mean, it's crazy. They all went to school because they had the means with what he left them to go to school for as long as they wanted.
Yeah.
But that was his thing.
Yeah. And, you know, kind of alluding to that, how it says that he gave a lot of money to higher education.
Yeah.
And, Chadron State
Yeah.
has a lot of, donors and,
Yeah.
um,
He went to Ireland, I think.
yeah.
His family had come from there, and the educational system there,
Yeah.
the college network was not good. And he talked to the head of the country and said, "Hey, here's what I want to do, but I don't
When,
want any interruption from government, this and that." And he literally set their college education system on the world map.
when I was in when I was in Chadron, we didn't have a track around our football field. We, had a old, basketball gymnasium and everything. And my actually my uh, great uncle, so my grandpa that just passed away, his sister's husband was on the board for um, to campaign for
For
donations for this improvement that they made a few years ago.
all your colleges are trying to get a I can't even think of the word right
And
now.
they called it like Mission 125 or
Yeah,
something
they all developed that. I
because
went
they
to Wake
wanted
Forest and
$125 million or something. So they petitioned for it and they got, for grants and, you know, funding and stuff. And they got it. I mean, they campaigned for it for, a few years. But the donors came up with it. And now we have, I've only been in the Chacoin Center maybe once or twice, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And I've never been to the football field since it's been redone, but it's, I don't know if they got a new press box, but I do know that they redid
I'm sure they have
they
facilities.
redid, they still have the PAC Center, which I think is not updated, but they have built the Chacoin Center and whatnot. And it's just, I mean, beautiful improvements to, but basically, Chadron's a place that, and Omaha's a place too that, they have to make improvements for people to
You got to be
want to stay
competitive.
here or even come here.
You got to be competitive. At
Mm-hmm.
Wake Forest, where I went, we led the entire nation per capita in alumni giving.
Mm-hmm.
They did the same thing you're talking about. Dr. Hearns did a campaign, blah blah blah, and they wanted to get. I think it was over $1 billion, and they literally nutted it out in no time.
I mean, even our football, the University of Nebraska, even our football stadium. I mean, we are not a very good football team anymore, and
What, Nebraska? The
yeah,
Cornhuskers? Man, the Cornhuskers used to roll.
we used to be amazing
Archie Griffin.
back in those days. Yes,
Now he played for Ohio State, but
um,
Nebraska
but
used to kick butt.
we're not a very good football team anymore, but we have been granted the money to basically make major improvements at Memorial Stadium, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, all the
It'll
NCAA big
anyway,
universities are trying to
you
they're
just
trying to
got to
get to 4 super conferences, and then they're going to pull away from the NCAA, and everybody else is going to be left behind.
you got to stay competitive with your facilities, and it costs a lot of money. And I mean, I don't know if you know
These big
about,
stadiums for these big programs, they're $1 billion piece of real estate.
I don't know if you know anything about diehard Husker fans, but
I
we
do.
are definitely diehard Husker. I mean, there are
Tom
definitely,
Osborne.
yeah, because I mean, even though we win like, I think we won 3 or 4 games last year, we still have like sellout crowds for
Yeah,
our
since
football.
he left, and he left in coaching and became a senator, I believe.
Tom Osborne,
Yeah,
yes.
he was a legend. I mean, when he was there, they used to kick
Hmm.
butt.
Yep.
Yeah,
And then he was the athletic director.
yeah. After I graduated, I was assistant golf coach for about 3 years at Wake, and I can
Mm,
tell you this: the universities, the money they got, when they do something, they don't half-ass it. I mean, they
no,
build the super duper deluxe, modern, high
yeah,
technology,
best of the.
super duper thing. And then if it's not competitive with other schools in the conference, like we built a golf facility, a practice facility, then they rip it down and raise another 40 million to make it even better.
Mm-hmm. And where did you say that you golfed at?
I played at Wake Forest, and Wake. If you know anything about Wake Forest, it's one of the top
That is
five
so
programs. They've
cool.
won. We've won 3 national championships, and
Oh my
uh,
gosh, that is
it's
amazing.
one of the top programs. And Arnold
Yeah.
Palmer went there. Blah blah blah.
Wake Forest is part of the Battle of Tobacco Road, right?
Yeah, Wake Forest. Where I live is
With Duke and
my
North Carolina.
grandfather used to raise 150 acres of tobacco when I was a kid. There's
Really?
tobacco patches within 100 yards where my place is.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
tobacco's
Yeah,
big
I
business.
just didn't, before I, realized that, I knew Duke and North Carolina were pretty close together, but I didn't realize
Yeah,
Wake Forest was in that as well. And
yeah,
when I found that out, I was like, wow, we've got some competition.
yeah. The Duke guy that started Duke, his name was Duke. He was a big tobacco magnate, and he put all the money behind Duke when it was a little small school and made it what it was. And this area, R.J. Reynolds is right here in Winston-Salem. Uh, they made Winston, making cigarettes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's
Huh.
big. You used to go through downtown Winston, you could smell the tobacco where they processed it in the warehouses, and it actually smelled
Mm.
good, believe it or not. And now they've moved everything out of town, and it's not downtown anymore, and it's changed.
Yeah. Well, and like I say, like, Chadron is known for the Museum of the Fur. So
Do you
basically,
know the wealthiest man in America back when they trapped animals and they got fur was the guy? I can't think of his last name right now, but it was the guy who got beaver furs. They made them top hats
mm-hmm.
that everybody used to wear in England and whatever. He became the richest man in the whole country by buying beaver pelts
Yep. I
and
I
selling
do.
them all over the world. And they made top hats, all them silly looking top hats people used to wear.
Yeah. I think I do remember hearing something about that because,
Yeah,
but yeah.
buying beaver pelts, got rich.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has anything else to add or, as I say, go watch the documentary. I'll watch it as well. Um, I'd like to know what everybody thinks. So,
Yeah, I'd like to watch the documentary and maybe everybody else look into it a little bit.
yeah, message
Kind of
me
get
if
their
you have
footing
any
and come
other.
back and look at this further because
Yeah, message me if you have
I don't
any
know.
other
This is just,
questions,
this,
comments, or concerns.
yeah.
And if I
Say, I
ever
was
hear any
jumping back and
updates,
forth
we'll.
over the fence, back on this side of the fence, back over today. I couldn't. And it's really kind of more interesting than Chance's thing in some way. I don't know how to explain it because of the variable, the different things, but
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't know.
probably revisit the Debbie Collier thing too to see
It's
that
not
was just
exactly, and I don't mean to imply that, but it's got a
yeah,
lot of.
that was just really weird to me too, though. I mean,
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed. I said, man, this is
the
weird
I
how close
guess
it is.
the most I guess the one, didn't she make like some phone calls or something? But one of them,
Yeah,
either to
something
the
with her
husband or to
daughter
the
and
daughter,
Venmo,
was
and they,
really kind of
uh,
weird.
yeah, some weird messages that they,
Yeah.
you know, and that's not in Steven's situation.
No.
However, the inhalation, cause of death, manner of death, inhalation of, you know, fumes and
Mm-hmm.
the the burnt glob of plastic. There was things she had at her thing that was like that too, and it was just odd.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna get off here so I can do some things. I don't know if Scarlett's going live tonight, but I'm gonna get some stuff done. And
Yeah,
but like
Summer
I,
says she can't see him unaliving himself.
yeah. Um, but yeah, if anybody, you know, let me know what you guys think if you, you know, come across anything. If there's ever any updates, we will obviously get the information out. Um, I don't know if there will be just because, but it's okay, Just Don. I know you were listening.
Yeah, I can't. Summer saved me early on. Like I say, I was sitting here watching my screen. It was froze. Said, uh,
Summer saved me
"We'll
too.
start in 4 minutes," and I said, "Here, where's Jason?" Blah blah blah. Y'all had already started. I didn't even know till Summer said, "I think
Avery,
you're behind, Will Beef."
well, Summer and Avery saved me because they mentioned something, and then I realized I wasn't even on the live. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, well, I will end this, and if anyone, like I say, just let me know what you think, and we can talk about it. And you know, if
Yeah.
there's any other,
Summer said she's going to watch that
I'll keep it all posted.
documentary.
Thank you guys.
It's good, Summer. You'll like it. I'm telling you.
Thank you guys so much for joining Wheelby. Thank you so much for coming up with me.
Yeah.
I'd like to have somebody with me.
Yeah. And next time I'll try to make sure. I actually think I was running so many streams and
Uh,
stuff that I finally pushed this thing. I had about 4 YouTube channels running at one time.
yeah, but
And
yeah,
I
thank
think yours froze, and I thought you
you
were
for discussing.
lost. I said, "Where's she at?"
Yeah, but all right. Well, I will
All
let
right,
it,
I enjoyed it.
and I hope to see you guys soon. I will be uh let me think. What is
And
today?
everybody hit the like button if you haven't.
Oh yeah,
That
please.
helps JC. And you know she's starting out slow, but you know you got to crawl before you walk, and
Yeah.
you know.
And yeah, if you want to help the channel, let me know. And also I'll be probably doing something on Friday as well. I do work the next couple days, but I'll I have a list of in order of things I want to cases I want to cover. So I'll be probably doing one like every day off or half time. So
Yeah, well, let me know in Discord, and that way I can kind of spread the word so you know people can do it. Just a little bit of diving into it, so they're kind of versed in what they're looking at.
yeah,
That helps.
yeah. Not sure exactly what my next one's going to be, but I have a couple. I have so many plans that it's not funny. So
Just as long as we can eventually catch somebody.
yes, but anyways, I will end this. But thank you again, guys, for everything, and I will see you soon. And stay safe. Thank
All
you,
right,
guys.
guys, I enjoyed it. Everybody in chat was wonderful, and we'll all walk over to Discord, I guess, to hang
Yeah.
out with Scarlett. See you later.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye bye.